Anyone listening should read your book, The 80/80 Marriage. I feel like you've provided the context so beautifully, and I want to switch into the impact of the 80/80 marriage in terms of responsibilities onto other aspects of marriage. But before we pivot, is there anything else that you'd want to include specifically about the 80/80 marriage?
So one piece that I think is really important just to understanding the model itself is this idea that in all relationships, your mindset is contagious, that in some ways you could think of your relationship as a mirror of your own mindset. And this is why the shift from fairness to what we call 80/80 or radical generosity, doing 80%, more than your fair share, knowing that the math doesn't work there, is so powerful. Because if that's true, and that's one of our central assumptions, that mindset is contagious, then it shows why fairness is so self-defeating. That, you approach your partner with this mindset of fairness and resentment, and you can't understand why they're resentful toward you. Well, they're mirroring what the energy you're entering that conversation with. The beauty of this shift to radical generosity, and the reason it works, is that even though your partner might not mirror that radical generosity right out of the gate, over time, they're going to be much more likely to engage and to contribute themselves. And that's actually the way that you can dissolve that over contributor, under contributor dynamic, is simply by making that mindset shift.
I love that. I just want to add to that. It's so beautiful. The language that I usually wrap around that is not treating your marriage as commerce, that you're not looking at tit for tat or transactional. I think the point you made, Nate, is very profound, because you're not talking about initially doing any less, but doing it from a place of generosity. It's not the fact that doing things is contagious in a marriage. The fact is that the mindset is what is contagious in the marriage. So the mindset while doing things, if it's positive, is much more likely to have reciprocation, not for reciprocation's sake, but because it creates a culture that is then inspiring for both people to contribute. I really love the nuance in that, because I think when we're in resentment and in a transactional model, we do think, well, if I just do more, then he will too. And often the opposite is the case.
Yes, you have distinguished those ingredients so perfectly. I really appreciate you for teasing those apart so skillfully. The piece that I was going to add was a super pragmatic, fun, hopefully fun way to try out one of the things that you were talking about, where if there is a perceived lack of appreciation for something that one person in the relationship does, to over a weekend or over a period of time where it's okay if there's a mistake, to do a role swap. So to have it where, if I have never been the one who reconciled the finances, like, leave me the finances and let me see if I can reconcile them, because there's so much appreciation on the other side. Or I just had a person tell me that they developed tremendous amounts of compassion for their partner who travels for work. That the partner comes back from a business trip and they're like, all right, game on, it's time to do the family. Well, they just went on a trip and they came back and they're like, oh my goodness, I have so much more compassion for my partner, that to come back from a trip where I was so tired and all of a sudden be immediately into the dinner and the routines and the planning and then the family trip and the weekend. They were like, okay, I can be kinder now as my partner reintegrates. So some of those role swaps can be a fun way to just understand your partner's world.